Hey everybody, it's Dr. Gilchrist, and I'm just here to talk to you a little bit before classes begin next week. Just a little bit about some of the things that you can do to manage how you're feeling and all of the emotions that you might be going through at this time. Now, as I mentioned a little bit before, Smedley, Smedley stopped at. Um, as I mentioned before, this is a lot of change that's going on really, really quickly. And so I thought it might be a good idea to talk a little bit about the things that I'm kind of doing and that you can potentially try too to help you get through this time. Um, I hope you're practicing social distancing as much as you possibly can. Remember that you're not necessarily doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for the people around you. And it is a little bit of a sacrifice. For somebody who is extroverted like me, this is a very hard time. It's hard for me to not be able to see my students. It's hard for me to not be able to go to a place like I don't care and hang out with my friends. But it's still something that we do because ultimately taking care of each other is way more important than what I specifically need right now. And so, because I know that I'm a little prone to feeling anxious, and also because I'm a little more isolated than I usually am, I'm trying to engage in some different things to help me feel better and to help me manage the emotions that I'm dealing with. And I'm kind of hoping that maybe these can potentially help you too. So, one of the first things that will probably happen with you, I can already kind of feel it happening with me, is that a sense of routine is absolutely critical. Um, I know that when I don't really have a lot of routine in my day, I'm a little more inclined to be a bit like a slug. If I don't have anywhere I have to be, if I don't have anything on my schedule, if I don't have anything planned, I kind of just want to lay around the house and just be a slug and not really do anything. And I certainly can't speak for you. I know there are definitely days where I need to lay down and be a slug. But in general, for a longer period of time, for me, my life needs a little bit of structure to help me feel good. And maybe that's something that you need too. So you'll kind of notice that I'm a little more dressed up today. I put on a full face of makeup. I did my hair. That is a part of my routine and it helps me feel better. Now, maybe makeup and hair isn't your routine at all, but maybe there's something that you can put into your schedule every single day that can help you get on track. The other things that I'm actually trying to institute is trying to get in a running streak. So I actually have a treadmill in my basement, and I'm going to try to run for at least a mile every day. And kind of having something to look forward to, something that is structured, will help me do my best. Apologies if the cuts seem to be going a little bit in and out. Smedley wants attention, and sometimes when he wants attention, he wants it when he shouldn't necessarily have it. So the next thing that I do want to talk a little bit about that at least in my life has been beneficial, and especially if you struggle with anxiety or depression or things like that, or if you're prone to those kind of things in times of stress, I think that this is a perfect opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about things like mindfulness, a little bit more about meditation. Mindfulness is really one of those funny words that sometimes gets used so much that it kind of loses all sense of meaning. In general, it's being aware of the sensations in your body, being aware of what is going on around you, being aware of the thoughts that are in your head. And I would say that that can be something that if you are like me and you are feeling a little bit anxious during this time, things like deep breathing. So a very common type of breathing is 4-7-8 breathing. So we breathe in for 4, we hold it for 7, we exhale for 8. That is something that can certainly work. If you like being a little bit more fancy, let me see if I can grab this right here. I actually use a breath pacer. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I have a breath pacer that is called Cardia, and it's kind of hard to see right here. But how Cardia kind of works is that it helps pick a breath. I pick about 6 cycles per minute. That seems to be really optimal for me. Um, but you can kind of hear it helps pace your breathing. So let me go ahead and turn it on. So you breathe in and you breathe out. And I do this for about 20 minutes a day. There's a lot of data out there that shows that, especially if you're doing that deep breathing from your diaphragm, that helps stimulate the vagus nerve. And hey, biopsych students, the vagus nerve is a part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is designed to help you calm down. Meditation apps can also be incredibly useful. I know quite a few people who use Calm. I actually you're not going to be able to see it. I actually use things like Headspace. Maybe you can see it. Yeah. I use things like Headspace. Um, and there are free meditations that you can do. Headspace actually just added workouts. So you could even work out from inside your home using these meditation apps. One thing that I think goes without saying while you're dealing with a lot of change and a lot of uncertainty in a really fast time frame, think about where we were about 2 or 3 weeks ago and think about where we are now and how much has changed in just 21 days. So you might be scared. You might be angry. Some of you are incredibly disappointed. Like there are some students that, are seniors and I'm wondering if I'll be able to see them. And that makes me sad and disappointed and scared. It's grieving. It's a type of grieving. We are grieving the way that we previously were living. And at least temporarily, we can't do things the way that we were doing them. We're doing something different now. And it's okay to grieve that loss, to grieve that change. Allow yourself to feel what you feel. If you can't, if you're not managing it, it's only going to make your life more stressful. So find somebody that you can talk to. Talk to a parent. If you have a therapist or a friend that you can chat with, I would highly recommend that you do that. Something else that can help reduce your stress and keep you safe is staying healthy. Get lots of sleep. I know that many of you are sleep deprived. Now is a perfect time to really get the sleep that you probably have been depriving yourself of for the past 8 weeks. So 7 to 9 hours, everybody's different. If you can get by on 5, great, more power to you. I know I need at least 7. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water, eating healthy food, and exercising. Not because I think that it necessarily always really helps, but honestly, for me, exercise is one of my best stress relievers. And whether that's a walk or a run on the treadmill or a YouTube workout, um, these things can be really helpful. Now, one of the things that's probably the most, my pets are demanding my attention. Oh my. Okay, we just let one dog out of his doggy crate. Uh, I know it's hard to be in the house. So you probably are fighting with a little bit of loneliness right now. You can't be around your friends as often as you'd like. And so I would say this is the perfect time to make connections with the people that you care about. Um, that could be your friends, that could be your family. Just try to find ways to get in touch with people. And there are a lot of creative ways that you can do this. So, for example, me and my friends, we like to go out for dinner on Fridays. Well, obviously, that can't really happen right now. So, what we're probably going to do instead is do something like Skype or Zoom or video chat while we eat dinner in our respective places because we need to try to find ways to connect with each other. Call your family members. The phone, if you want to text, I suppose that is fine too. But find ways to make connections because you know, this is the only thing we got right now. It's probably not a good idea to hug people. It's probably not a good idea to be in big crowds of people or big restaurants. Now, having said all of this, there's a lot. I think it's very, very easy to lose sight of the fact that this is a temporary thing. It's easy to feel the doom and gloom. By the way, I would also add, if you're like me and you're prone to feeling anxious and getting sucked into a spiral of news on your phone or news on Twitter, feel free to limit that. It's okay to take a break from reading about the coronavirus. I promise you, it is okay. It is still here and it will not go away just because you stop looking at it for 30 minutes. But if you're prone to getting feeling negativity, it's okay to limit that exposure a little bit. And I would also say it's really important. And I'm not saying that this isn't bad, this isn't scary. It absolutely is. But I think it's important that we make sure that we don't lose sight of the things that we're grateful for. I went outside and to walk the dog, and nobody was around. It was really gray and cloudy and peaceful, and flowers are starting to bloom on the trees. Like life will go on, even in the midst of this mess. And I know it's hard to appreciate now, but this is temporary. I don't know what it's going to look like when we come out of the other side, but know that it's temporary and look for the small things that you can be grateful for, even in times of uncertainty and scarcity and fear. And ultimately, know that you're not alone. I struggle with this too. I get sucked in the spiral of reading the news and have trouble sleeping at night and have occasionally burst into tears because everything's changing far more quickly than I think anybody would have guessed. Well, some people guessed. um, but I think it's important now that we're in this space to take care of ourselves in addition to taking care of each other. And so that's kind of my wish for you over the next couple of days before we meet up for classes starting again. Take care of yourselves and please, please take care of each other. This is one of those times where we need to look out for each other a lot more than we normally would. And maybe we're not looking out for each other in the way that we expected. We can't necessarily go visit a friend's house. We can't necessarily meet up at the mall. We can't necessarily go to a movie. But this does require us to be creative and innovative. And I would say one other thing that you might consider if you're worried about being stuck in your house, this is the perfect time to learn a new skill. I'm actually going to take some time to learn how to code in Python because, well, I need to find ways to keep my mind active, to be engaged and know and have something to look forward to in the future. And I hope that you do the same. Try to see if you can learn something new, cook some new recipes, learn how to knit, play a new video game. Do these things because even in uncertainty, even in all of this scariness, there's always going to be times to learn. There's always going to be time for joy, and there's always going to be time for hope. Don't let yourself don't hold yourself back from feeling what you're feeling, but know that good things can happen too. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you soon.